Driving down the King's Road in my GTI, pulled up outside sounds, this girl, she said hi. My first sex education class was this record. Wouldn't go to school, I'd just go and sit in the cemetery. It actually got the name of the Babyshambles band from this film as well. Acid and speed, things like that, you know, as you do. You still see his eyes. So sharp. Well, yeah, no, you have to have a heart of stone, surely, not to be, you know, not to get emotional about someone who died so young. When I was growing up, this was my equivalent of virtual reality, you know? No internet, no phones, just records and cassettes as well. For example, I can remember being an 8-year-old boy watching Top of the Pops, which was an English music show, and seeing this guy who's up there, he was like breakdancing, rapping, which I'd never seen before. His name's Derek B. I don't know his real name, I don't know much about him, I know he's dead. But he was the first British answer to sort of Public Enemy. So it was around that time, 1987, 1998. And there was a song called Good Groove, where, because I'd heard the Jackson 5 before, and he'd taken the bass line from the Jackson 5.
Right, you've guessed it, Easy Q is back with another funky beat for your 12-inch stack.
Was doing all these, not childlike, but, you know, lyrics about, you know, having a big car, making money and being really tough, and so it's quite fun when you're a kid, you know, those sort of lyrics. My first sex education class was this record, long before they taught us it at school.
So young Peter Doherty was rapping?
I can still do all these songs, you know what I mean?
Can we hear it?
David B was a bad young brother. Driving down the King's Road in my GTI, pulled up outside sounds, this girl, she said hi. Boyfriend wearing pink shirt, red tie. We jumped in my car, we said bye. I said, excuse me, but what is your name? She said, my parents like to call me Sarah Jane, but you can call me Sarah, I like you a lot. You also make me feel real hot. Well, hey, what the hell can I say? You put the pedal to the metal and away, hey, stopped off from my place in a flash real quickly. Anyway, yeah, it goes on like that. Some really good music on there, a lot of samples, you know, from funk and soul, like what Public Enemy did, like what Wu-Tang did as well, take some amazing bass lines from old funk songs and then just doing your thing on it.
Fleeing the crime scene, speeding.
So this was like when I was 9, 10 and just I loved all music, any music. But this was something else. This was like, I can remember buying this actually, second-hand vinyl, probably when I was 15, so 1996. So the Smiths had already split up. This was released in 82, I think, 81. And I remember putting it on at home and just, yeah, I'd never heard anything like it. This weird, maudlin, melancholy, ghost-like voice from like the distant past, like sort of almost Victorian, like spectre-like, but with these bright melodic guitars.
Punctured bicycle on a hillside desolate.
Up until then, I was, you know, mad about football. Used to do a fanzine, you know, like a fanzine for my football team, and just football mad. And then I listened to the Smiths, and then I just changed completely. I became sort of a dandy after that, I think. I collected vinyl quite passionately then. All the album covers, all the single covers, they were like wonderful images of forgotten actors or cult actors, and a lot of them from what we call kitchen sink films. And I had them all up in my bedroom, all round the top. All my football scarves came down and all these like second-hand records started to go up. This I had as well. All these bands from the 80s, Smiths, Echo and the Bunnymen.
Under a blue moon I saw you so soon.
Jesus and Mary Chain.
Second-hand living, it just won't do.
This sort of became my life really, this idea of just putting your thoughts and poems to noisy guitars. That became my dream, that's what I wanted to do. I wasn't very naturally talented at that time. This is times before you could go online and find a guitar tab, you know what I mean?
So how did you do? Did you get any guitar lessons?
No, I didn't. I know I was too proud to do that. I should have done maybe. I was just sat banging away. I think the part of the melancholy of the Smiths captured my mood at the time. I think I became very insular, antisocial, just quite angry about the world, and I wouldn't go to school. I'd just go and sit in the cemetery, you know, and listen to the Smiths.
I am the sun and the air.
Writing a lot of poetry and thinking, yeah, I will start a band one day. It's hard to be a rebel in my house. I'd defy anybody to be a rebel with my father because it's just not having it, you know what I mean? So I was a rebel outside the house, but at home it was like... But I knew once I left home I could get some more courage and strength, but no, I was terrified of him. And then I changed schools when I was about 16. I went to a completely different type of school, and I met a guy at school, Jai his name was, and he gave me a tape with this band on, Stone Roses. Manchester guitar band. I'd missed them. They'd split up by that time, so I could never see them play, but it's gorgeous. Look, it's clear vinyl, that. Never been played. Beautiful songs, beautiful melodies, and a little bit easier to play than the Smiths, you know? Simple, and you could play along to the record. It wasn't detuned.
At the time, did you picture yourself doing music on stage, or not yet?
Sort of. I think as I told you, it's quite a strict home environment, you know? I couldn't just go out to clubs or to bars. It wasn't like that where I lived. It would have just been school, which... I think I tried to do something at school, start a band at school, but, you know, it was quite a rough school. People just throw things and shouting, you know, shut up, you shit. So I used to go busking to practice, you know, and just fantasise, yeah. Just fantasise. Anyway, finally, I left home and headed for Camden. I started meeting people with eyeliner and leather and like amazing shoes with massive heels, like all 60s kids who loved 60s, who loved punk. I met a guy called Scarborough Steve, who was actually, he was my singer for a while. We had a band together. We were called the Libertines, actually. He was kind of the first Libertine singer, and he was mad about Iggy Pop, this guy Iggy Pop. There's an album called 1969. I'd never heard anything like it, really, like, or seen anything like it. It was just fucking, I mean, it was guitar music. I mean, some of the early Smith stuff is a bit punky, but it's not like this. Do you know what I mean? So I was listening to Iggy Pop, the Sex Pistols, and it changed my whole idea about what being in a band was and what you had to do. Maybe I started experimenting, you know, with different things and acid and speed, things like that, you know, as you do. The New York Dolls as well. I used to listen to a lot of New York Dolls.
All about that personality crisis. You got it while it was hot.
New York Dolls was an amazing band from New York in the early 70s who was supposed to have been really like the first punk band. I mean, wow, it's quite rare. After Lou Reed left, I think. I mean, this record I used to have on, I had this vinyl. It's just some of the best songs ever. Sunday Morning, I'm Waiting for the Man. Lonesome Cowboy Bill.
Lonesome Cowboy Bill, you got to see him. Your lady,
It just makes me really happy and really sad as well. It's just, you know, because it was my world completely, you know. And then when you hearing all of these songs were so incredible. They had like the poetic power of the Smiths, but in a completely different way. It was more like so that New York street noir vibe, you know. So like someone who was more like out on the street, living it, rather than Morrissey, who had a great imagination but was very much a recluse. You know what I mean? Like Lou Reed was just out there, like proper out there. I think. Ooh, nuggets, yeah. Yeah, so the Nuggets were like artifacts from the psychedelic era.
Last night your shadow fell upon my lonely room.
The Standells, yeah, they're a great band. They did an album called Riot on Sunset Strip.
It's causing a riot, yeah.
This was a generation of mostly guys, but you know, people who basically just they took acid and played guitar, and they created this mental new sound that you can appreciate, you know, straight. But if you drop acid, you know what I mean, and listen to this music, which I don't do anymore. I haven't taken acid for a long time, but the first time I did, my own personal summer of love was like 1999, and it changed everything, really. It changed the way I saw a lot of what I saw about the world, but it definitely changed the way I listened to music. And a lot of this music was part of that. Bands like The Seeds.
Can't seem to make me your mind.
A lot of them were bands that only released 1 or 2 records, you know. These guys would get together, start a band, drop some acid, release a record, and then bang. You know, they'd join the army or become a postman or something, you know. It's interesting trying to find them. You go online, try and find these people, what they're doing now. And
Did you try?
yeah, I think so. I think I did, because there was one song, War or Hands of Time, it was called, by an obscure Australian band. And I completely ripped it off. I stole the melody and stole the chords, because you couldn't not, it was so beautiful. I think we had to find them, because we had to give them some money, because we stole their idea. That's why I like the story of Sugar Man so much, you know? Because he made this incredible music.
He's like a wise man, a prophet, way beyond just being a musical artist.
It's not that it didn't become a superstar. I don't think he really wanted to. You listen to his music, he's obviously quite a sensitive soul, and he just drifted off into life, do you know what I mean? Because that's the sort of person he was. He wasn't desperate for fame, you know what I mean? Like some of us would stop at nothing.
How about you?
Yeah, no, complete opposite. Fame-hungry chancer. Just the way we were brought up, me and like particularly Carl, the other guy who I started the Libertines with, we just had a mission. We were so like, we just felt the world should adore us for whatever reason, and that we didn't have enough love or respect, so we had to go and take it. But I think a lot of people who want to be famous, it's a damaged person, do you know what I mean? It's quite a poison chalice, fame as well, you know?
Have you ever regretted?
I think so. I think sometimes, yeah. But I do enjoy writing music, particularly, and then I have to eat, you know what I mean? I have to pay the heating bill. You can't live in the forest, unfortunately. Well, you could, but I'm not a survivalist. I have to participate in society, you know what I mean? I need to use the shops and things, so I need that stuff. What do they call it? Money, le sous. So I have to do concerts, promotion, but, you know, this is cool.
And the success came very quickly for you.
Well, I don't think success came. I think fame came and notoriety, but we didn't really sell many records, you know? We got a lot of publicity, we did a lot of concerts.
Back into the sun. Now you know that the time has come.
You know, you compare to someone like Oasis or Blur or, you know, Bob Dylan, anyone like that. It wasn't like we were massive. Just we had sort of cult following and a lot of publicity, but there's still time. There's still time, you know what I mean? You could do it with this next album. Oh my God. This is amazing. This is like, if I, you know, sometimes I have visions of heaven, and this would be one of them, just all my favourite record sleeves. This is just an incredible collection of songs. I mean, there's songs here that just make you dance, will make you cry. Johnny Too Bad by the Slickers. And Many Rivers to Cross by Jimmy Cliff, who sings most of these.
Many rivers to cross.
That's 4 of my favourite songs of all time on one record. So this is the soundtrack to a film called The Harder They Come, which was a Jamaican film about a guy who goes to a big city to make it as a singer, and he gets involved with loads of gangsters who want to take all his money. And
I can sing too, no, sir. I like the chance to make a record.
Everybody want to make a record.
it actually got the name of the Babyshambles band from this film as well, because because there's a scene in it where she goes, "What do you want to drink?" She goes, "Me want a Babysham."
What is it?
Babysham, it's really like a poor man's champagne. It's not really champagne, it's like Babysham, sparkling wine, but it's really cheap chemical. They're not allowed to sell it anymore because they discovered that, you know, it makes you blind or something. But in England in the 70s and then obviously in Jamaica as well, it was what working class people would have Babyshambles, thinking that they were sophisticated, but it was actually disgusting.
Are you a fan of reggae music?
Yeah. I used to work with a guy called General Santana, who's a Jamaican guy. I did some stuff with him, songs like Pentonville.
Indian Chinaman down from Vietnam, whole heap of people from the Caribbean.
There's a few reggae songs in there. I mean, it's normally rock and roll, but if you follow it through, there are bits of reggae. Gunga Din, the Libertines, is a bit reggae. There's sort of flashes of reggae. Do you know what I mean?
Woke up again to my chagrin. Getting sick and tired of feeling sick and tired again.
It's really enjoyable to play and to sing, but then we just end up just speeding it up again. But it is nice to play, you know what I mean? Like, this is a great record.
Love a man, oh, where can you be?
This, yeah, it's particularly beautiful for me. I love it. I love the art. First of all, I love the artwork anyway, you know, the old Otto Preminger poster. What was his name? Saul Bass, I think it's Saul Bass. He did a lot of posters, like he did the poster for Vertigo as well. It's a beautiful film, but the book that the film was based on is one of my favourite books of all time. It's about one man trying to escape his addiction. Very controversial at the time. I mean, particularly Frank Sinatra, who was a heroin addict. You actually see him on screen injecting, and it was very controversial. They had to take it out, but you still see his eyes. It was so shocking at the time. Sort of set in Chicago slums, card sharks, drug dealers, dog catchers, drunks. What's not to like, you know? Yeah, it's jazz, basically. It's jazz, but film score jazz, so it's like classic literature for me. Like, if you really just believe in it, like Dickens, it can really get you. Like. It's always been there somehow, Gainsbourg. Like, I knew people that liked it would be there. But then as I get older, I get more and more drawn to it. A very clever man, like a really clever man, interesting. He made a lot of reggae albums as well. Yeah. Ballade de Melody Nelson.
C'est l'histoire de
Melody Nelson.
Babyshambles.
How was it to start over again with a new band?
At the time, it was amazing. It was just freedom, liberty, like it was being released from a cage in a lot of ways for me. For whatever reason, the Libertines for me became a bit of a trap, because the guys I was with, they decided on different philosophies to life, and I was on whether it was good or bad, it doesn't matter. I was on a certain way of living, and so I needed people who understood and who didn't judge, and Babyshambles certainly never judged. And we made some amazing music together, and I think it will come around again at some point. I'm hearing rumours that Babyshambles could be getting back together, so we'll see. Who knows? Some amazing songs, it'd be great to play them again. There's a song called Babyshambles.
Maybe you'll be running for the door. Maybe you'll be screaming out for more.
With Libertines, it got to the point sometimes where there's too many fast songs for me. I wanted sometimes to slow it down, do you know what I mean? And with Babyshambles, you could do that. We could put in acoustic songs.
Down in Albion, they're black and blue.
But actually, I was determined that it would be brilliant. I didn't want it to be a half-assed thing. I thought, if we're going to do this after Libertines, it's got to be fucking amazing. So I love all them songs, actually.
How about Amy?
Yeah, I was just seeing her. Well, that was all the same sort of time. I mean, I'd seen her around town and that, but it wasn't really until Babyshambles times that she came to some Babyshambles gigs and she'd get on stage. And she was really good friends with one of my guitarists, Babyshambles, Mick Whitnell. So we see each other. Yeah, just what a time.
What's your best memory with her?
Seeing her come on stage and with us and just falling into the drum kit, just completely out of control. It's like some people might see that as a negative image, but for me it was just she did not give a fuck, and the crowd going to, get off the stage, you're ruining the gig, and she, fuck off. this band's shit anyway, I'm better than this, come see my band, we're playing tomorrow at Hammersmith. It was funny, yeah, it was all good fun. Also, I remember Babyshambles were playing the MTV Europe Awards, and Amy won everything that night. She won everything. She won, like, you know, best album, best singer, best international singer, best whatever, best new artist. Whatever.
He left no time to regret.
And then just seeing her afterwards, she was just so, you know, she came over and she went, right, who's buying? You know, she was just like one of the lads, sort of thing. And we were just all dancing and to Northern Soul, and she had all her trophies, you know, yeah. I knew she was around, and I'd seen her like out and about, and I knew she'd had an album, but I'd never listened to it. And then I saw the video for Rehab, and I was like, fuck, who's that? What's that voice? What's that bass line? Who wrote that? What's happening?
They tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no.
So I was jealous, but also inspired and a bit confused. I was just like, hey, who is she? Is she like, what? Is she black? Is she Jewish? Is she like I just thought, this is too good. This can't be like, it can't be real. It must be like some AI creation. You know what I mean? It's like the perfect.
And then you met a great girl, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, she was always a great girl, yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was really young when she died as well, you know? Like, too young. But she's left quite a legacy, you know what I mean? She did a lot. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Well, yeah, no, you have to have a heart of stone, surely, not to be, you know, not to get emotional about someone who like died so young, and, you know. Yeah.
Konbini!